Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a wonderful Wednesday. Today we're going to be diving in with our daily cryptocurrency market update, and we're really just going to be talking about things generally in this video. We are, of course, going to be looking at the overall market, the sentiment, diving into Bitcoin, because we were actually expecting some kind of a consolidation, which we're potentially seeing, but we're going to drop down the time zones, show you some patterns that could be in play. You kind of, this break of this ascending triangle, you're coming back and you're kind of testing it again and potentially creating a descending triangle to the downside, which may drop you back in. But there's a lot going on that we're going to talk about. We do ultimately expect upside for crypto. But we're in a rut at the moment, and it's some of what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to be looking at the total market cap, talking about the NASDAQ, because one thing that really worries me is the fact that crypto is very correlated to the NASDAQ. We saw a kind of move away from it, but it's now really acting just like the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's having a bad week. Bitcoin subsequently is doing a similar thing after having a good couple of weeks, just like the NASDAQ. And I don't like that because I kind of want crypto to move independently. We've been really stressing on this channel that the cryptocurrency market is now tethered to your macro markets, which is fine, but we want it to be a pariah within that. We don't want it to act like your equities, which potentially may not have such a bright future moving forwards, but we're going to get into it all. And one thing that I'm shocked about, and it's what we did our daily cryptocurrency market on yesterday, was the fact that the UK is now pushing to be the global crypto hub. They officially said this. How did the cryptocurrency market not moon on the back of this news? And it very much reminds me of 2018, 2019. I don't know how many of you guys were about during that time period, but we had such amazing news. It's one reason I stayed in the crypto space, because I just thought, how is all this innovation happening and the price is just not correlating it? And that's because markets are really their own thing. Often markets do not represent the underlying asset that they are trying to. And that sounds strange. It sounds really strange, but price is only one metric to weigh up value. And, markets move off a variable of things. We've often compared, one of the first videos we ever made on this channel was comparing Bitcoin with Amazon and how, similar thing taking place. Amazon was part of a technological revolution, which was the internet, and it was one of the stocks to come out of it. Blockchain is a technological revolution in this case, and Bitcoin is the most prominent stock to come out of it. Crypto to come out of it. And it's a similar thing going on. And at one point, Amazon crashed from, I think, $107 all the way down to $7. Yet the company, on every metric you could have weighed it up by, was going through the roof. And value sometimes takes a little bit of time to get realized and is often unreflected in the markets. So if that sounds good, guys, strap yourselves in. We've already kind of explained a lot of what we're going to do, so we're not going to spend too long in this video. It's just going to be a short and sweet one. Let's take a look at the overall market. We are downtrending, and we have maintained a bias of being cautiously optimistic. We're very optimistic. How can you not be optimistic about the crypto space? But right now, with everything going on, and people don't like it when I talk about being cautious. They don't like it when I talk about, okay, things don't look so great on a macroeconomic scale. We've had the yield curve, which we spoke about. We've got oil prices have typically signaled at the levels they're at, recessionary levels. You've got the 30-year yield curve. You've got so much going on, supply crunches, rising commodity prices, slowing down economy, interest rate hikes. You have to be cautious in these markets. These are not high leverage trading markets. These are markets where you pick a position. I believe in cryptocurrencies. I believe in the crypto industry. I believe that it is the next thing and it is going to do well over the long term. So I'm happy to put my money into it. That's I shouldn't say I believe. I think is a better way to phrase it. Not I believe, I think. And I genuinely do think that crypto is the next thing and it's going to do well in the long term. And that's why my money is where my mouth is in it. I am all in crypto. When I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was essentially saying, look, where do you put your money in this environment? Do you put it in an overvalued equity market? Do you put it in commodities? Do you put it in crypto? Or do you leave it in cash in case something happens? Well, if you leave it in cash, you're getting eaten by inflation at a lot higher rate than what they're telling you it is. Because if you look at everything that you use your cash to buy, it's gone up significantly more than 8%. Do you buy equities, being as sort of risk off as they are? Do you buy value? Well, how do we know the narrative? It's a very hard time to position yourselves, and that's why crypto in many ways is a saving grace, and it's why bringing us back to the Nasdaq. I don't like that it's moving in a similar fashion to the Nasdaq. Nasdaq has a lot of tech in it. I don't like this. I don't like the fact that we're moving with the Nasdaq, because crypto isn't. There's tech associated with it, but it's not a tech stock. It's its own thing. Its markets at the moment are very hard to call, and it's why we're cautious. And I've got to be as real as I can with you guys. Good news isn't all this. I know I sound doom and gloom saying that. This is a technological revolution again, and we're going to do very well over a period of time as a result of it. That's something that's always important to understand. So the market is selling off. Fear and greed index is at 48. Retail sentiment, I'm not sure how much of a great indicator that is. There are elements of it, when everyone's extremely bullish, time to be fearful. When everyone's extremely bearish, time to be bearish. But sometimes it just doesn't do that. So on to Bitcoin. You guys know what we're really watching, and then we'll jump into the total, Nasdaq, talk a little about this, and then we'll wrap the video up. The MACD, every time you get one of these MACD crosses, you get consolidation, which is what we've outlined from the start. We've said that consolidation is coming, and that's what you're getting. And you can actually get a bit of a sell-off if you look at this one over here, or for example, this one over here, and you even had one down here, one here. You get that consolidation before continuation. So nothing's out of the ordinary here. I think we're on the sort of right path, and I do expect upward moves. And I think we're in a kind of broader, removing my MACD now, macro continuation pattern, and you're going to squeeze to the upside of this. You maybe make another return move, come down, and then get that continuation. But we're kind of coiling up for something. And I think adoption in regards to regulatory clarity is probably what's going to drive that. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of new money coming into these markets, more consistent buyers and a lack of FOMO. We're looking at a lot of things. It's hard for somebody like me who has so much money in crypto. Not only that, is in touch with a lot of big players within not just the crypto space, but the kind of financial space, to try and figure all this out. We're playing a game of chess right now that, the rules aren't straightforward. It's not you can move your pawn this amount, and these might be the threats or this sort of thing. It's a changing environment that's kind of coupled in with potentially an entire monetary shift, which sounds extremely confusing. But let's drop down some time frames. You can see this EMA is kind of holding you for now, and the 20 EMA is actually coinciding with the pattern that we've kind of had at play. You guys know that we had this ascending triangle. Ascending triangles, on balance of probabilities, break to the upside. You have a beautiful coiling up in it, and we did say this was going to break. We were then looking for a support or resistance and support flip in this case, where this was resistance. You've come up, you've come back down, you've hit it as support, but you've now, instead of using it as support and finding that sort of springboard, you're coming back down. At the same time that the Nasdaq is doing a similar thing. Not in regards to the pattern, but in regards to it kind of pulling back. Nasdaq almost looks, you could be in some sort of a rising wedge here, potentially for the Nasdaq. We don't really do analysis on the Nasdaq, although I think we're going to start, this could break to the upside, could also break to the downside, but we'll see. Back to crypto. So this was your resistance. You found it as support. You're finding it as support here. But my worry is, just like this was an ascending triangle with your ascending support and horizontal resistance, you're kind of forming potentially, and I'll drop down the time frames. We only need to put one line on here. A descending triangle that potentially could see you come back down. Can you see this? So we need to get a kind of springboard and a bounce above this. You don't want to keep hitting your head here. 3 times is a trick. You could be back into this larger macro structure. And it's a really significant level where Bitcoin actually rejected off round about this mark here, because this mark, if we put a horizontal line through where we actually rejected, and you look at the significance, the amount of touches, the amount of rejections, this has been not a great point to reject off. But we've also found support on a number of levels. But when you reject, you can see just how many rejections you've had at this. It's extremely significant. So we need to kind of coil up, potentially break it, come back above it, and get that sort of further pattern structure within our kind of what we think is going to a pattern that will melt to the upside, if that makes sense. So let's talk about the total. You guys know we just essentially think that we're in a similar situation to what took place over here. and that we get that continuation. This is something we drew a long time ago. You're sort of starting to make your way up. Hopefully we get the kind of springboard here off the EMA. And back to the NASDAQ, because it is definitely worth talking about. You know, I really don't like how we're kind of acting similarly to the NASDAQ. And what I'll do... Okay, we've got Apple there. We don't need Apple. Choose Bitcoin, choose Bitfinex. What are we on here? Just to show you, these are moving very, very similarly at the moment. Can you see? You know, Bitcoin's maybe made a bit more of a recovery than the likes of the NASDAQ. But at the moment, you know, you've got this kind of choppy action, and I think that's reflective of markets across the board. You know, I think people are really looking for... You've got lots of people that are sat... When we look at stable coins for the crypto space, you've got lots of people that are sat on the sidelines and that have stable coins sat there ready to deploy. And I think people are looking for direction. They're looking for, you know, I know so many traders that are just like, you know, so annoyed right now at this time period because it's a hard trading period. It's not back here where we're in a very, very established trend to the upside. We're kind of in this grey, unsure, but sure, but we know crypto's the next thing, but okay, everything's going on around the world, and how does that factor? You know, we're in this kind of new age, if you will, for the crypto space. And I'm going to refresh and put us onto our... This is a chart that we've been showing you and we created since the start of my channel. And this is the chart that is essentially showing you the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory. This year, or the prior year, sorry, has thrown things out the window because you've essentially gone sideways for an entire year, which was supposed to be your 2000. We started 2022 off like 2017, but things have kind of got thrown out the window. And how, you know, we've evolved as a space to the point where everybody's kind of scratching their heads, but we're all falling on the pretense that crypto's the new thing and it's going to do well. But in the short term, everyone's kind of like, well, hang on, you know what? What are we doing here? And then you have a whole legion of crypto YouTubers that haven't got a clue, you know. And what I mean by haven't got a clue is, you know, I'm here saying, okay, well, I'm sure we're going to go up eventually, but I'm just kind of a little bit worried about the midterm, or the short term, I should say. Not midterm, I think we'll do all right. But you've got other people out there, some of the most prominent, that really, you know, they're reading very, very basic charting pattern. They're not coming up with any of their own critical thinking on this space, and they're just regurgitating news and other things, and it doesn't help anybody, and it just adds to that confusion. And in some ways, you know, I was speaking to somebody the other day saying that they're glad these YouTubers are here because it gives them an advantage that they're not listening to them, and that other people are. But I don't think that's the right way to think about it. You know, this is a space where crypto, you know, we all want to win. I want everybody to win in the crypto space, but I'm rambling on now, guys. This is back to the UK's new push to be a global crypto hub. I don't know how the price didn't skyrocket off the back end of this, because I found this extremely bullish news. You know, and when they mention the likes of DeFi and other things, it's like, okay, well, they've got a green light, and that's kind of how I'm looking at those sectors that I think are underappreciated, underused, and unloved to do well. Yet this didn't really move the crypto market at all. In fact, we saw a sell-off to the downside. So could have been people already knew that this was coming and they had kind of already prepped to kind of sell the news, but who knows. So that's really all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Remember, ultimately, we do expect continuation for Bitcoin. You guys know nobody's more bullish on the crypto space but me. But I think we have a bit of a tricky period ahead of us. And we're also rolling into May. Famous saying out there, selling May and come back in St. Leger's Day. Markets, you know, all your big boys kind of step away from the markets, and that's when volatile moves tend to happen. But then we've also seen the summer periods be quite good for crypto. So much to think about, but we will be sharing it all with you on this channel. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated, so as a comment, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.